There has been much bad news for Iran in the past 24 hours, and it will probably continue to get worse for them. On Sunday afternoon, IDF warplanes flew 1,800 kilometers to attack the Houthi-controlled port of Hodeidah in Yemen, inflicting yet another strategic defeat on the regime that rules in Tehran. Since the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah, Israel has continued to attack Hezbollah targets throughout Lebanon non-stop, and there has also been strikes on other terrorist groups. Hamas announced on Monday morning that their chief of operations in Lebanon has perished in these strikes, and 3 senior members of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine group were also eliminated in strikes overnight in Beirut. But Hezbollah also had some bad news to report on Monday, confirming the death of Ali Karachi, who they described as the commander of the Great Jihad, but now all he will be commanding is a grave. Meanwhile, in Gaza, the IDF continues to fight Hamas, striking terrorist command posts and destroying tunnels. We have a lot of ground to cover today, so let's dive into the details. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is your Boots on the Ground report about what is happening in Israel on the 360th day of the war against Iran, the head of the axis of evil in the Middle East, as well as its terror proxies Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, and the Shiite militias in Iraq, Syria, and elsewhere. But before we start, please take a second and press the subscribe button so that together we can give the truth its proper place. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. On Sunday, Hezbollah posted a video of Nasrallah's body being removed from the site of the airstrike, which ended his career as a leader of the terrorist assault on civilization in general and Israel in particular. According to Al Jazeera, his body was recovered with no signs of blunt trauma at all, so the explosions of the bunker buster bombs aren't what killed him. Instead, an examination of the body indicates that Nasrallah died slowly, suffocating as the oxygen in the small underground chamber he was in following the airstrike ran out. We might have more to tell you about this at a later date, but for now, we have another big story to report. On Sunday afternoon, following yet another ballistic missile attack originating from the Houthi rebel group in Yemen, the third such attack in the last 2 weeks, dozens of Air Force planes were launched to hit the Houthis in an attempt to convince them to back off. These aircrafts flew 1,800 kilometers to strike the port of Hodeidah, which was already struck back in July, as well as the port of Ras Isa, the El Khali power plant, the Ras Kathir power plant, and the airport. This strike was the largest attack Israel has launched on an enemy in many years, and it also marked the furthest distance the Israeli Air Force has struck since at least the mid-1980s, when the Iraqi nuclear plant at the Usirak was hit. The targets struck in this attack include oil reservoirs, power plants, the port facilities, and the international airport in Hodeidah. The Houthi-controlled health ministry reported that there were several casualties from the strikes, and videos posted online showed massive explosions and large columns of thick black smoke rising from oil tanks that were burning out of control. The IDF spokesman announced following the strikes that the Air Force attacked targets of the Houthi terrorist regime in Yemen, about 1,800 kilometers from the Israeli border, and noted that in a large-scale air operation, dozens of aircrafts, including fighter planes, refueling, and intelligence planes, attacked under the direction of the intelligence echelon. Additionally, it was revealed that the Houthis have continued using the ports to bring weapons from Iran into their territory for use against Israel, as well as oil and other strategic materials. The Hezbollah mouthpiece, El Mayadin, even declared that the Americans gave a green light to the enemy and they must bear the consequences. However, an Israeli official declared that the purpose of the attacks was to convince the Houthis to stop firing at Israel and to deter Iran, saying that if they continue to attack Israel, the attacks will increase. The message to Iran is clear: Israel can attack with tremendous force, even at the distance of 2,000 kilometers. She can do it simultaneously in several arenas. Today, we attacked in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria, and also in Yemen. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant added in a statement that the message is clear for us. There is no place too far, he said. The Houthis had a response to the attacks as well, with the spokesman declaring that the Israeli attacks on the port of Hodeidah and the power plant will not cause Yemen to stop military operations. A hit to civilian targets will be answered by an attack on civilian targets, and the enemy knows this. Yemen's bunker targets deep in Israel is large and strategic. As mentioned, surface-to-surface missiles were fired from Yemen and were successfully intercepted outside the country's borders and set off alarms in many areas throughout Israel. These missiles were the second fired by the Houthis in the last 3 days since that missile launch about 2 weeks ago, and to that day, there has been no Israeli response against the terrorist organization. Other Houthi statements repeated the claim that the missiles that they fired at Israel are a signal of solidarity with Gaza and Lebanon, and that the Yemeni people themselves are the ones demanding that these attacks continue. I have a comment to make about all of this. The Houthis took control of Yemen several years ago by violently overthrowing the internationally recognized government of that country, and since coming to power, they have done little or nothing at all to care for the general population. Disease and famine kill thousands of ordinary people in Yemen every month, and I doubt that those who manage to stay alive are very interested in the wars that are being fought away from where they live. The Houthi claim that they are attacking Israel because their people are demanding them to do so is so transparently untrue. The only people the Houthis have ever done anything to help are the Ayatollah regime in Iran, and it is an outrage that they have been allowed to get away with this. The oppression of their own population, the wars they've waged against their neighbors at Iran's requests, and now the attacks they've made on international shippings, effectively shutting down a major sea line, are all reasons that the international community should have sorted them out a long time ago. Now, little Israel is finally sorting them out because we've had enough of their attacks against us. The other regional powers, to say nothing of the global powers, should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this problem to go on so long and leaving it to Israel to fix. In any case, here at TBN Israel, we will continue to update you on these topics going forward. You can stay tuned to the truth and receive updates on a regular basis by tuning into our website at tbnisrael.com/news, or look for us on social media networks by searching for TBN Israel. Overnight Sunday, an apartment was bombed in a residential building close to the El Kula bridge in Beirut. According to Lebanese media, this is the first Israeli operation in the city since the beginning of the war outside the Hezbollah stronghold in the Dahya neighborhood. The apparent target of this strike was the terrorist organization Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, which has been almost entirely destroyed in the Gaza Strip but still has operations in other parts of the Middle East. Following the strike in Beirut, however, the group admitted that 3 of its terrorist leaders had been eliminated. This report came following a few hours in which conflicting reports emerged regarding the fate of a senior official. This is the latest Israeli operation to eliminate the remnants of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine group, which has cooperated closely with Hamas both in the Gaza Strip and in Lebanon. Also, overnight on Sunday, Hezbollah published an official announcement about the death of Ali Karachi, the commander of their southern front, who was considered the number 3 leader of the organization. He was eliminated alongside Hassan Nasrallah in a bunker in the Dahya district on Friday, a few days after he survived another assassination attempt. In the announcement of his death, Hezbollah called him the commander of the Great Jihad, and in a separate announcement, they also admitted the death of Abil Kaouk, the head of their preventative security unit. The IDF had announced his death a few hours earlier, and Hezbollah has now confirmed it. Despite all the blows they've sustained in recent days, Hezbollah is refusing to stop their attacks on Israel. Overnight Sunday, alarms were activated in Haifa and many surrounding areas following a surface-to-surface rocket that was fired from Lebanon. A UAV, a drone, probably launched by the Iranian-backed militias in Iraq, was also intercepted on the way to Israel's Red Sea resort city of Eilat. The military effort Israel is making to manage all these problems has impressed the whole world, but I must tell you that all of this is coming at a very high cost. The Israeli economy is in very poor shape, with many people out of work and the government needing to spend vast sums on war-related costs. Beyond that, our communities in the north and in the south are suffering not only from the bombardment itself, but also there is no tourism, there's almost no agricultural activity possible. The economy of Israel needs help. And many people ask us in the comments, how can we support Israel at this time? And I'm glad to be able to tell you of one way that you can do that. Our sponsor for today's video is called Arza. This is an Israeli company that delivers locally produced products directly to your doorstep. These Arza boxes are filled with flavors, scents, and craftsmanship made here in the Holy Land. By ordering from them, you can help Israel and the Israeli families. This is how you can contribute to our effort. Go now to www.arzabox.com and receive fresh, original, handcrafted products. And not only that, you can now use our exclusive 10% discount on your Arza Box subscription by entering the code TBNIL. Again, TBNIL. Remember, it's a beautiful gift, it's a souvenir from the Holy Land, and most importantly, it's a blessing for Israel and for the people of Israel. So thank you so much, and now back to the news. Switching our focus to the Gaza Strip, the IDF continues to fight the terrorist organization Hamas, or rather, what is left of it. According to the IDF spokesperson's unit, the 5th Brigade forces, in collaboration with the engineering array of the Southern Command and the Alam unit, located, investigated, and destroyed a tunnel about 1 kilometer long in the center of the Gaza Strip near residential houses and in a civilian environment. In the tunnel, several rooms and facilities were found that were used by the terrorists of the terrorist organization Hamas to stay for a long time, as well as weapons. I would like to direct my attention to something that IDF Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi said yesterday, that he is assessing the situation at the time of the attack in Yemen with, in the background, Sinwar's photo with a question mark. This is significant because in recent weeks reports have been increasing about the possibility that Yahya Sinwar is no longer alive. Various pieces of intelligence have been uncovered pointing to this possibility, but there is no conclusive proof one way or another yet. However, Israeli intelligence officials believe that the messages that have been published over the past few weeks, supposedly in the name of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, were not written by him. This hypothesis is now being strengthened with publication of the Chief of Staff statement, in which it can be clearly seen that there is no certainty in the security establishment regarding Sinwar's condition. Guys, here at TBN Israel, we will continue to update you on developments going forward. So please help us share the truth by sharing this video on YouTube and subscribing to this channel. And don't forget to follow us on social media. To conclude today's report, I would like to put some of the developments of the last week in order. The assassination of Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah on Friday afternoon followed a long series of assassinations and actions in Lebanon that were attributed to Israel, or for which Israel accepted responsibility in the last 2 weeks. This has been the most intense period of activity since the beginning of this war, either through the blasting of the pagers or through the assassination of senior members of Hezbollah. It became obvious that Israel has managed to penetrate deeply into the ranks of the organization. How did it happen? According to a report in the Financial Times, Israel has been gathering intelligence for many years. I hope that one day I will have the privilege of reading the book that will be written about it when everything has been declassified. But for now, I'm just another person who will have to be satisfied with knowing it has all been worth it, especially if Israel manages to push the threat of Hezbollah back without a major war. However, Iran is still our main problem. It is a nuclear threshold state that openly threatens Israel and for many years has been funding the terror belt it has created all around us, the Ring of Fire. It openly threatens to wipe Israel off the map and is taking aggressive action to try and make this happen, despite their massive internal domestic problems. In recent days, their plans had suffered many setbacks, and I'd like to think it will make them do some hard thinking about fixing their own problems and not trying so hard to destroy our country, Israel. But history tells us that this is unlikely to happen, so we must remain vigilant and continue pushing back against Iran's evil plans. After a year of conflict, fighting the real war has only just begun. But despite that, these days are not only the end of a cursed and difficult year for the people of Israel. These are also the days before a new year, Shana Chadasha, and in fact, a new era. So here at TBN Israel, we will inform you about what is happening on the ground in Israel, and more importantly, we ask you to unite with us in prayer. Pray for the IDF soldiers fighting in the air and on the land. Pray for the quick return of the Israeli hostages that are kept in the Gaza Strip, and most importantly, unite in prayer for the peace of Jerusalem. Shana Tova, and together we will win this war.
Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Yair Pinto from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.